Hey guys, let's get more news about Steelers, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. Recent prediction would be ideal for ex-Broncos QB Russell Wilson. Former Denver Broncos quarterback Russell Wilson is looking for a long-term home, and at this point, the Pittsburgh Steelers are the most likely outcome given he played for them last season. However, the Steelers are currently making a decision between Justin Fields and Wilson, making this an interesting situation. Wilson was the full-time starter when he returned from injury a season ago, but he wasn't perfect, raising questions about whether he'll return to the team as the QB1. With it likely coming down to Fields and Wilson, if Fields joins another team, the logical thing would be for the Steelers to bring Wilson back. Fortunately for Wilson, there are many more teams interested in adding a young guy like Fields over an aging veteran. Scott Engel of NJ.com believes that team could be the New York Jets, predicting that Fields will sign with them and get a chance to be a starting quarterback. The Jets, who have been searching for a true star QB since waiving Joe Namath in 1977, are also not in position to draft one of the very best at number 7 overall. But they could add Fields, a 2021 first-round pick, and give him another chance to start regularly and reboot his career, Engel wrote. The Jets have been looking for a quarterback for much of the past decade, and they thought they found one with Aaron Rodgers. Similar to the Broncos when they brought in Wilson, it didn't work out. However, for the former Broncos quarterback, Fields signing elsewhere could be all he needs to return to Pittsburgh and play for an organization that has done nothing but compete for much of the past 20 years. Coaching notes: Chargers, Saints, Sermon, Wilbur, Eagles, Vikings, Chiefs, Steelers. Jim Harbaugh now has former Michigan offensive and defensive coordinators on his staff. A year after bringing Jesse Minter with him, the Chargers HC is hiring Kirk Campbell from Ann Arbor, NFL.com's Tom Pelissero tweets. Campbell moved up to Wolverines OC following Harbaugh's exit but was in place as QB's coach during the team's unbeaten national championship winning season. Campbell, 38, moved up the ranks quickly, rising from offensive assistant in 2022 to OC 2 years later. Serving as Old Dominion's OC before heading to Michigan, Campbell will be in place as a Chargers offensive assistant in 2025. The Bolts have also promoted Dylan Roney to edge rushers coach, CBS Sports' Matt Zenitz adds. Roney, 29, had joined Minter in following Harbaugh to Los Angeles last year, working as a defensive assistant. He was previously in place as a Michigan graduate assistant. Here is the latest from the coaching ranks. The last team to make an HC hire this year, the Saints continue to fill out Kellen Moore's staff. New Orleans is hiring 2 former NFL linebackers. They are adding Cal defensive coordinator Peter Sermon as its linebackers coach, ESPN.com's Pete Thamel tweets. Sermon played 7 seasons with the Titans, starting for the Final Four, 2003 to 2006. He had been the Golden Bears DC for the past 6 years. This will be the former NFLer's first coaching job in the league. Another retired linebacker, Kyle Wilbur, will join Moore as Saints assistant special teams coach, New Orleans.football's Nick Underhill tweets. Wilbur was a Moore teammate in Dallas, playing with the Cowboys from 2012 to 17. He comes over after 2 years on the Packers staff. Elsewhere on New Orleans staff, the team is hiring Bo Davis to be its D-line coach, NOLA.com's Luke Johnson tweets. This is a local hire, as Davis was previously in place as LSU's D-line coach. Davis previously spent time on the Dolphins and Lions staffs. They are adding Texas assistant Terry Joseph to be their defensive pass game coordinator, per Pelissero. Terry Joseph is the younger brother of Broncos DC Vance Joseph. He had been the Longhorns pass game coordinator for 4 seasons. Needing a QB's coach because the Saints poached theirs, Doug Nussmeier, for OC, the Eagles interviewed Syracuse QB's coach Nunzio Campanile, per 247sports.com. Campanile had previously served as interim HC and OC at Rutgers. He spent the past 2 years at Syracuse, being retained despite the Orange changing HCs in 2024. The Eagles are bringing back a familiar face, hiring Greg Austin, according to 94 WIP's Elliot Shoreparks. Austin was the team's assistant O-line coach under Chip Kelly from 2013 to 15. After some time in the college ranks, Austin worked in a quality control role on Doug Peterson's Jaguars staff. He will likely work under Jeff Stoutland, Shore Parks adds. Keith Carter has resurfaced in Minnesota. The Vikings hired the former Jets and Titans offensive line coach as their assistant O-line coach. An NFL assistant for the past 9 years, Carter was fired from his post as Titans O-line coach after the 2022 season. He resurfaced under Nathaniel Hackett in New York in 2023. The Chiefs are also greenlighting a reunion, rehiring Matt House. Formerly the Chiefs linebackers coach from 2019-21, House is now in place as a senior defensive assistant with Kansas City. The veteran staffer had been working as the Jaguars' ILB's coach, having served as LSU's DC during the 2 years prior. He also served as DC at Kentucky, Pitt, and Florida International over the past decade. The Chiefs also hired Chris Orr as a defensive quality control coach. After Aaron Curry joined the Jets staff, the Steelers have replaced him as ILB's coach. They brought in Scott McCurley to fill the job. A Western Pennsylvania native, McCurley was the Cowboys linebackers coach throughout Mike McCarthy's tenure. He previously spent 13 years under McCarthy in Green Bay, working his way up to Packers LB's coach. Myles Garrett's contract rumors light fire under Steelers to act fast with TJ Watt. We know it's only a matter of time before the Pittsburgh Steelers hand TJ Watt another lofty contract extension. But after the latest report, Omar Khan and the front office must act fast. Watt isn't the only superstar edge rusher in the market for a lucrative new contract. Joining him are high-profile All-Pros Micah Parsons and Myles Garret. Garret, who was the 2023 Defensive Player of the Year, requested a trade this offseason, though the Cleveland Browns have not granted the request. But what's even scarier than Garret staying in Cleveland and potentially facing the Steelers for the rest of his career is the record-setting contract coming his way. According to Browns beat writer Mary Kay Cabot, Garret seeks $40 million per season in average annual earnings on a new contract. General Manager Andrew Berry is also open to signing him to a blockbuster extension, which would likely make him the highest-paid defensive player in the NFL at about $40 million a year, Cabot proclaimed via More for You Cleveland. Entering the 2025 offseason, the average annual earnings of the top 5 edge rushers in the NFL is $28.6 million, with Nick Bosa leading the pack at $34 million per season, per over the cap. This unheard-of projection proves the Steelers must act fast on a TJ Watt contract extension. Pittsburgh Steelers must extend TJ Watt's contract before Myles Garret resets the market. Earlier in the week, NFL insider Tony Pauline predicted that the Pittsburgh Steelers could be in line to hand Watt a deal in the ballpark of $35 to $37 million per season. Unfortunately, if Myles Garret or Micah Parsons' extension comes first, Omar Khan and the front office can kiss any trace of a team-friendly contract goodbye. Watt's price is going to be steep, no matter what. But if Garret resets the market with contract figures averaging around $40 million per season, the Steelers will have no choice but to follow suit. Sadly, we can envision a scenario where the Steelers make a poor financial move when it comes to Watt's new contract. Despite the Hall of Fame resume he has built over the years, the Steelers will be paying for the numbers that he put up in the past, not for the player they think they will be getting at age 31 and beyond. The last thing we want to see is fans become resentful toward Watt because he's not living up to his contract numbers in his 30s. The Steelers can avoid all of this by getting on top of the situation. However, we could see a repeat of the 2021 offseason. 4 years ago, Watt's party staged a training camp hold-in until Watt finally marched to the facility and inked his extension just before the start of the season. If contract disputes drag out this long for the Steelers, it's going to cost them. As soon as Garret resets the market, Watt's agent will use Garrett's new contract as a baseline in negotiations. To ensure this doesn't happen, Khan needs to come in swift and hot with an offer Watt can't refuse. Based on Garrett's jaw-dropping contract projections, the Steelers should offer $37 million per season, with the first 2 years fully guaranteed. This would make Watt the highest-paid edge rusher in NFL history, that is until Garret and Parsons get their deals. The time to act is now. And are you a fan? What do you think of the Myles Garrett situation? Leave your opinion in the comments.